Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a full review to do for you. This is the Custom Knife Factory Evo 2.0. And you'll see there I missed the deployment. I'll get to that in action, but it's basically a lefty thing. Although it's pretty rare, it does happen. So look at this absolutely stunning piece, guys. This is a CKF Custom Knife Factory collaboration with John Sorensen of Rotten Designs. Really cool knife. I have had this for about a month now. Well, I've had an Evo 2.0 for about a month now. And I guess I'll go back and start from the beginning. So when I unbox this, you can listen to my terrible rap video. I explained. So Kyle, my brother, DTOM Knives and Gear, which by the way, confirmed, we're going to Blade Show. We'll both be there together. We got everything booked. So we'll be there. Hopefully, if you're coming, we'll see you there. Hit us up. And we're going to do a live stream on the edge from Blade Show, probably from the hotel room, but from Blade Show that Saturday night. And I also just restocked on stickers and magnets. So if you guys want any swag, hit me up. DM me at LeftyEDC on Instagram or email LeftyEDC88@gmail.com. All right, so it started with Kyle hunting down the 1.0 version of this, the CKF Evo, basically, which is a larger version of this. It's not huge, but it's larger, and it's a bit different. This one has this one swell right here in the choil, and then this is all kind of one swell, right? On the full-size Evo, you have kind of finger cutouts here, and then this kind of flat part at the end. So you have an extra two kind of finger pockets instead of this one. And a lot of people have concerns over the ergos on that. I checked his out, and it was very comfortable. I really like that knife. And if I was made of money and just could have any knife I wanted, I would totally hunt one down to just keep in the collection. But this is the one I would carry, so no point there for me. So that was his grail knife, and he got it, and he was so excited. And then the 2.0 came out, and it was like a pre-order, and we all kind of didn't even, look into it. I think Jake from Bearded Gear, I think he was interested, but, it's hard to drop $500, $600, and then wait months to get something when you have a channel and you need to put your money into new things coming in, right? So anyway, after Kyle got his Evo, Jake had a friend who was in on the drop for these, had a plain titanium one, and he didn't like it or whatever, and he offered it to Jake at retail price. So he got it. And that's when I got interested, because before I was like, this is ugly, like, I don't know, ergos, deploying it, and then Jake got it and was like, this thing is fucking incredible. Like, they both were saying how amazing it was. And Jake and I have similar tastes in knives, similar kind of hands. I think mine are bigger, but we kind of mesh with the same knives mostly, and that really kind of sold me on this guy. And it even seemed a little large for him, and I figured that would be perfect because my hands are a little bigger, and it might be the perfect grip. So I started looking, and one day Jake sends a message in our group chat, and it's a link to NC Blade. Check out NC Blade on Instagram. They were dropping some of these that night at 5 p.m. It was 4:55 when he sent it. So I was like, oh shit. And I rushed, clicked the link, waited till 5, 1 minute, refresh, and snagged one. And I got the plain titanium as well because it was $590. This version in carbon fiber and black dark wash titanium is $630 retail. And then there's a fancy pants version. I've actually had all of them on my channel at this point. So if you just search, Evo CKF Evo. You should see all my videos. I've shown them all. The fancy pants version is all black wash titanium, and then it has a Zerk backspacer and a Timascus pivot collar and clip. And I won that in a raffle. I ended up selling it to my good buddy JD over at Shadowborn Hanks. He was looking for one. I didn't need two. And he's just a good buddy, so I sold it to him for, you know, base price or whatever. Anyway, so those are the 3 variants you can get. That's the story behind how I got it. Then, a good buddy of mine, Sharp_Marbles, Doug, he had this version. And he really wanted the plain titanium. And I had that one. And I liked it, but I really like carbon fiber, guys. And he was willing to send me this so I could check it out and decide. And I was like, sure. So, fittingly enough, I was in this parking lot when I unboxed it 3 weeks ago. And I basically decided that day I was going to keep this one right here. And that was even after my disassembly video where I marred the shit out of the pivot area right here. He didn't care. He still wanted it. He figured it would wear in, and he says it's not even that bad. I was like, okay. And then one last story. The guy behind Rotten Designs, John Sorensen, he posted in his Facebook group my video, and then was like, somebody needs to learn how to, you know, do proper knife maintenance. Because I scratched the shit out of it, and it was a bear to get it apart because I had Loctited the pivot. And that's one of my big negatives on this knife. It's really probably the only one. It's a spinning pivot that has tooling on one side. That's just like a huge no-go for me, guys. If I had known that beforehand, I may not have picked this knife up. Like, it is such a big deal because the pivot walks on this knife. Like, it comes loose as you play with it, right? Therefore, you have to Loctite the pivot, or you have to constantly be adjusting it. So then it comes down to how much Loctite you use, because if you put too much in like I did, you can't take it apart because it just spins and spins, and you have nothing to hold this side down. Now, some people have told me you can use like rubber, like a thing you open jars with. You could press that against there. But I don't know, I did find, in case you ever run into that problem, if you hold the blade in this position here and then crank it, it does seem to lock that pivot up a bit, and I was able to get it apart doing that. But that video was long and freaking brutal. Anyway, I talked to John Sorensen, and it's all good. He was seriously just trying to help, and I appreciate that. Of course, there were some trolls in the comments, right? And then as soon as I replied to them and was like, hey, I'm just curious, like, what you found was off about my channel, because they would leave comments like, yeah, I tried watching that guy, like, there's something lacking there. And I commented back, and I was like, hey, man, like, yeah, that's my video. I clearly am an idiot, but I'm wondering, like, what's lacking about my channel? You know, and then you get back comments like, oh, I was just messing around. You know, once it's not a dog pile anymore on Facebook, once you individualize somebody, they become more themselves, right? It's kind of funny to me. Anyway, that's the Evo 2.0 story with Lefty EDC. So if you want to watch the review, skip to whatever right now is. Somebody throw it in the comments for me. I apologize for that, but there's a lot of backstory to this knife, and it's important to me because it makes the knife special to me in a way that it started from Kyle and then Jake, and then I got one, and then I traded with the good buddy Doug, and then I had the whole thing in Facebook, and the freaking designer was like, you know, posting my video. It's just the whole thing. Whew. All right, so aesthetically, the Evo 2.0 is absolutely fucking gorgeous. I mentioned before that I originally thought it was ugly. I was wrong, and once I got it in hand, and once I really got a good look at it in action, like on Jake's videos that he sent me, yeah, I was sold. This jimping up here with this freaking amazing blade shape just reminds me of a dinosaur. I've said before, it reminds me of that TV show, Dinosaurs. from the 90s. Not the mama. I love that show. Anyway, just really cool. You have this jimping back here on the titanium backspacer. Same up here. It is very, very rough, guys. This is not a kind knife to your hand. Down into this sheep's foot, what you want to call it, sheep's foot blade with this epic tip on it and this ridiculous hollow grind. It is so thin. That takes you down into a nice finger choil. And then you have another choil here, and then you can grip back on that kind of last swell there. And it is very comfortable in this grip. I do feel this bump right here, just slightly in this grip. But it's not like it's a killer or anything, but it doesn't like melt in my hand like some people would say. Because of that, I can feel it. It's not perfect, but it's very good. If I hold it back here, I still feel that bump, maybe a little more, but again, very comfortable. The finger grooves and everything fit perfectly in my hand. So ergonomically, it's a freaking home run. It's just not perfect, right? I did want to mention the shred carbon fiber on here is absolutely stunning. I'm so glad I went with this one. It has some weight relief on both sides. There is weight relief in the carbon fiber. I don't know how well you're going to see it, but there's weight relief in there. And on the lock side, this thing weighs nothing for what you would think. You see this knife and you probably think it weighs 6 ounces. I bet you this thing weighs like 3.5 ounces. Like, it is super lightweight. And the plain titanium one had the same milling. It was almost like, it was definitely heavier, but it was pretty lightweight. And the one with the Zerk backspacer, I was blown away by how light it was. So don't let that scare you. Also, one of the differences between all of them is this carbon fiber one does not make as good of acoustic sounds as the other two. Because those are full titanium, they really click and clack. They sound mechanical. It was one of my favorite parts of having those, but the weight and the look kind of won me over on this one, and that's why I ended up going with that. But here's some sounds for you. So very, very good in that department. Even this one is very good. Sorry. So that was sounds. I might start adding that to reviews. Sounds, aesthetics, sounds, and ergos. Action on this thing is fucking ridiculous, guys. The Spidey flick, reverse flick is just epic. And then the drop, I mean, it's just money. Yes, I had to dial it in to where I had absolutely no play, and I got that free drop, and then I Loctited it there, and it's been there ever since. You can crank the pivot down. I think it'll still walk over time, but at that point, it'll be more of a kind of like a little bit of shaking to get it closed. Still good, but obviously I wanted it to do this and have no blade play, right? You can also loosen it to where it's even more of a guillotine. Like that last drop there will be even faster. But then it started to get a little bit of play in it. It does have these blade stops. So, honestly, even with a little bit of play, it's not going to be like an issue, but it's an OCD thing for me. You can use those as thumb studs. Sorry. But I tend to just stick my finger at the top of the hole here and flip it out that way. I do really like to thumb flick this left-handed. I do it all the time. I probably do it just as much as I do the reverse flick. It feels very good. It sounds very good. And then the reverse flick, it's just something I had to get used to left-handed because you have the lock bar there. So I rest my hand onto the clip like this, get my finger into the hole, make sure I'm not putting any pressure down, put my fingers out like this and give it a flick. You get used to it fast and it's really good. When I initially unboxed this, I was putting my finger up on the pivot to do the reverse flick and holding it like this, which is kind of awkward really. And I want to give a shout out to Lavender Pants 87 on Instagram. He messaged me, he was like, dude, you can do it left-handed without holding the pivot. and he kind of like showed me this clip trick, and I've actually kind of used that on a lot of knives now. So I really appreciate him for a little advice on the reverse flick. I always admit when I don't know something. That's it, guys. I'm not an expert flicker. Like, I'm getting better though, thanks to Lavender Pants. I don't have to wrist it now. Action, fucking phenomenal, guys. The aesthetics, ergos, and action on this knife are ridiculous. The carry. So you have this clip here, very well done clip, 3D milled titanium, tension's perfect, in and out of pocket like a freaking dream, no issues on that. It's not deep carry. That's my biggest gripe with it. It sticks out about this far. It's not bad, and occasionally I have to kind of like adjust it and shove it into the corner of my pocket again because it kind of moves, but like, unless you're the big deep carry snob, you're fine. Like even Jake, who's all about deep carry to the butt end of the knife, like he carries this thing all the time and loves it. Yes, it would be cool if it was deep carry, but I think it would take away from aesthetics if you put like a loop over clip on here. So I'm cool with it. The being left-handed, this does sit in my pocket like this with the blade in. So obviously that's not ideal. However, as a lefty, or I'm sorry, as a hole opening knife, so it doesn't really have studs. These don't like stick out past the frame or anything. They're really blade stops. You can use them, but they're blade stops. So there's nothing really to catch. Like there's no flipper tab. There's nothing that's gonna like accidentally open this knife in my pocket, right? So I don't mind carrying it in my front left pocket. Now, if it was a right-hand knife that had a flipper or thumb studs, it would go in my back left pocket. But I keep it in my front left. It also keeps it a little safer, I think, because I tend to be reckless and just sit down really fast and rip fucking clips apart. So, you know, I'm trying to be safe with my $600 knife, basically. Yeah, so carry is good. I really like it. No issue there. It does have this jimping, which can be a little rough going in my pocket, but I usually don't carry much in there, so it's fine. You can front flip this, actually, with this jimping, but it hurts like hell. And it's not like ideal or anything. There you go. That didn't actually hurt that bad, but you can feel it. But it's cool that you can do it every once in a while, right? You can just go, ow, fuck. Okay, I'm not trying that again. That was right-handed. Left-handed, I got it right out. Carry, value, and recommendations. All right, we're wrapping this up, guys. Sorry. Value, $600. I paid $590. And then I traded for this one, which is $630 retail. On the secondary right now, these are bananas. They're going for $900. They're like $1,000 sometimes. A lot of people are being reasonable, at least, and selling them for like $800. That sounds ridiculous, but that's reasonable at this point for this knife. I had a buddy who picked this one up for $775. That's not bad. That's $100 over retail. I mean, not even. Yeah, it's a bit over retail. Sorry, but still fair, right? Like the one I sold to Shadowborn Hanks, it was $700. That knife new with the Zerk and the Timascus was $670, I think. Obviously, you have to include like shipping and all that shit. I did win it in a raffle, but like I could have got 900 something for it, probably. I'm not gonna be a dick like that. And he said, I can get 700 together, and I was like, yeah, sure, dude, that's perfect, no worries. Should I have charged him less? Maybe. I don't like gouging people. I don't think I gouged him, but I still feel a little bad about it because I won it. Whatever. Value is crazy on this. For retail, these are 100% worth the money. They're even worth a little more, I think. But you do have to know that this is Custom Knife Factory, and from what I've heard, this could be wrong, what I've heard is that Riot makes the parts and sends them to Russia. CKF assembles the knives, and then they ship them and sell them. So I don't actually think these are made in Russia. They're constructed in Russia. From what I understand, guys, please, if anybody knows more than that, or knows the full truth, like, is involved, leave a comment. Let me know. Again, I'm just telling you what I've heard. It could be incorrect, but it sounds accurate to me by the feel of the knife and everything, and the spinning pivot. But yeah, so value's there, guys. But obviously not everybody wants to spend $700 on a knife. I get that. Then, you know, you're just not going to pick one of these up, and that's perfectly fine. Like, you know, it's not for everybody anyway. Look at it. So recommendations, there you go. If you want to spend $700, $800, you have the money, you have the stimulus check to burn, and you can find one, it's 100% worth it. I can recommend it to righties, 100%. To lefties, as long as you're okay, you know, having a good thumb flick and having to just adjust to a reverse flick like that, then yeah, I can recommend it. I mean, I'm an idiot and I can do it. So, yeah, that's it, guys. That's the short and sweet of the CKF. Oh, shit. Did I just fuck it up? Kyle. No, he says CFK. Anyway, that's the CKF Evo 2.0. I appreciate you guys letting me rant, rave, and tell story time. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.